Hey people, so they went to go see Rogue One on Thursday, and due to extenuating circumstances, I couldn't see the movie. I saw it before work today, and so we're gonna knock out some quick thoughts on Rogue One right now. The soon-to-be biggest blockbuster of the year, probably by far. Box office estimates are predicting $300 million worldwide this weekend. Not Force Awakens, but still damn good. And for this giant blockbuster, it is a good movie.
It is good.
We don't need this movie, obviously. We don't really need to know the story of the rebels that got the Death Star. So what we're really getting out of this is some, connective tissue.
Yeah.
Some bridging between 3 and 4. We get some details that help us see both those movies in different lights, or maybe piece together some of the things that were a little muddled or confusing. And for that, I think this film does have some great moments of insight inside a pretty good war movie.
I actually watched A New Hope before I came out here to do this review, and knowing what I know after seeing Rogue One, it's like it carries a lot more weight. Spoiler
alert, we're going to be talking about the movie as we always do in detail, so if you want some final thoughts and quick scores out of 6 stars, just scroll to the time code here. Otherwise, shields down, ready to fire, let's do this shit. The part that you're talking about, watching New Hope after you watch Rogue One, what's the specific moment that you're like, oh, this is kind of like a new feeling?
Opening scene actually definitely held on a more weighted feeling, because you don't know what's going on whenever you see A New Hope for the first time. After seeing Rogue One, it's like a freaking people gave their lives in order to get these plans.
The ending essentially is, super spoilers, Leia getting the plans of the Death Star.
Yeah.
And saying some positive stuff like, oh, now we have hope.
What's this transmission? It's hope.
You could argue that Rogue One could take place minutes afterwards. Because Darth Vader is still, on his main ship, looking for the rebel ship. And you could argue that maybe in an hour or 30 minutes, he'd get into his ship, fly over.
Yeah.
The only thing that you'd have to explain really is how R2 and C-3PO got on the rebel ship that Princess Leia's on, but I mean that's not that hard to do, because it seems like Disney's willing to just throw them in wherever the hell they want.
Yeah, I didn't find their cameo pleasing.
This is one element that made the news, that this is the first Star Wars movie without the opening crawl titles.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, what?
And I started thinking about it, and I was wondering, okay, why would we do that? I'm like,
because it's not an episode.
Because it's not an episode, you're right, and this is a one-off story.
Yeah.
And I realized that I like that better.
Oh, yeah.
But then you also have some of the obligatory, you gotta have it in Star Wars moments. I got a bad feeling about this, or R2 and C-3PO being in every movie. Those little moments are distracting. They're not there for long, but I thought, if we're trying to kind of stray away from the Star Wars feeling, let's go balls out.
Only those parts really took it away from what this really was. A war movie about a rebel alliance stealing plans of a planet killer in order to save the galaxy.
Yeah.
And regardless of, spoiler alert, the heroes all dying, from what you know from the original trilogy, that their sacrifice did not go in vain.
I wasn't as invested in these characters as I was with Rey, Finn, and Kylo.
Well, you know there's more to come with Rey, Finn, and Kylo, though.
This movie isn't really about the war plot. It's more about connecting the pieces. And so I don't think the characters are written as developed for that reason. I think you could develop these characters more, because some of the performances are strong enough that I really cared about them. Like Donnie Yen as the blind kendo waving guy, and his best friend the gunner. Yeah. Those were my favorites.
I like them.
Him, Captain Cassian, played by Diego Luna. I got that mixed up with Resemble because I cannot fucking tell them apart. Resemble plays the Imperial pilot who originally defects and lets the Rebel Alliance know that that the architect of the Death Star, Galen Erso, played by Mads Mikkelsen. The pilot was given a message,
instructions from Galen to give this message of him to a well-known rebel, rebel attacker of the Empire.
Sol Guerrera, played by Forrest Whitaker, and Forrest Whitaker is weird in this one. I never really bought him. I never really bought the character, but then again, Forrest Whitaker looks more like a cyborg than anybody. I swear to God, it's just the eye.
But also could be because he didn't have enough screen time.
Yeah, that's true. It is weird how short of a time he's in the movie.
I know, especially since he was in the first trailer, and he had a major part in the first trailer of this film.
What will you become? Did they have that line in the movie?
No,
I don't think I heard it. Yeah. Trailer makes this feel like it's a team building movie, kind of like a Suicide Squad. It's really not. It's mostly about Galen's daughter, Jyn, played by Felicity Jones. The beginning of the movie, you see that the Empire comes to capture Galen and force him to finish building the Death Star because he built these plans, and kind of like Oppenheimer and those scientists with the Manhattan Project did with the bomb, they made the bomb and then they realized, oh my God, what have we done? This could destroy us all. So Galen goes into hiding with his wife and his daughter, and the Empire finds them. Galen is captured, the wife is killed, and Jyn runs away. She ends up being found by Sol, raised by Sol, ditched by Sol, and she becomes kind of like an orphan on her own. There are so many times in this movie that she isn't given dialogue and she's trying to make that stern, tough face, and I just didn't buy it from her. Who I was thinking was Jamie Alexander, Lady Sif from Thor. I think she would have played this better. Or you know what? You could have cast this younger. There is some weird, kind of hinting at romantic tension between Diego Luna's character and Felicity Jones. I'm glad they didn't go that way.
Yeah, me neither.
That they were allies. And I think if they might have played the character younger, it would have provided an interesting dynamic, seeing a younger person as equals with Captain Cassian, who's a kind of up-and-coming figure in the Rebel Alliance.
Not anymore.
You see the Death Star at maybe 20% of its power, and it still is horrifying, just leaving a giant mushroom cloud the size of fucking Africa over a planet.
The movie ends with Jyn and Cassian. They killed the dude.
They killed no, it's not a captain.
It's Admiral.
In the hierarchy of the Empire, there's the Emperor, Darth Vader, Grandmaster Tarkin, and then this guy, played by Ben Mendelsohn, and I had a lot of fun with this character.
I liked him.
Just because he was that smarmy, asshole British dude.
Yeah.
But in a way that you knew he could back up his own shit.
At some points, you felt bad for him because he was like, hey, he made this giant space station. Tarkin's like, oh, I'm believing him of this dude.
It's weird. His subplot basically revolves around him trying to get noticed by his bosses, and they just don't want anything to do with him because they don't really give a shit.
No.
I like that Darth Vader in this film starts out as a guy who honestly couldn't really give a shit because these problems are so beneath his pay grade, you know what I mean? These are just some silly rebels. I mean, you can't handle these people. Ben Mendelsohn has the scene where he comes crying to Lord Vader because Tarkin wants to take command of the Death Star and take the credit for his own, and so he's bitching to Darth Vader, and Darth Vader basically shuts him down with a force choke, and single-handedly the most cringy line since while he was force choking him. He's like, don't choke on your aspirations. I was like, Darth Vader just quipped? Did he just quip? What the fuck? James Earl Jones still has a great commanding presence.
Oh yeah.
But, you know, just a few lines. The dialogue in this movie wasn't that great either. There's a lot of trailer lines like, "Save the rebellion! Save the dream!" With episode 3, you see the crumbling of the Galactic Senate. And then in episode 4, you see the ragtag confederation of the Rebel Alliance. And here, you see a good midway point. Because you've got a council, and you've got this meeting kind of like they would in the Senate in episode 3. But at the same time, they're loose, and there are murmurs of, oh, we need to take more action. We can't afford to take more action. That's suicide. So I like that they're blending in those phases pretty damn well. Do you like your pee?
I can't feel my ears.
Can you feel your urethra? Is it that cold out there?
Just rub my cheeks. Thank you. I feel like a hamster. I'm a happy hamster.
Quick nitpicks. I didn't like the robot.
I thought what he said was like, eh.
My only issue with him is honestly just the actor. I never really liked Alan Tudyk.
Really?
Not really.
Oh, he's got bug eyes though.
I didn't like Felicity Jones. I will say the part that snuck up on me is that whenever you see the big battles at the end, when they're trying to really go for the Death Star plant and you see people start dying, the part where I started getting really emotional was with Donnie Yen, because throughout he's describing his philosophy with the Force. He very much sees it like a spiritual guardian, something like that. He's always saying the line, "I am one with the Force is with me." And whenever he dies, and after this really cool scene where they've got to cross enemy fire in order to activate this communication switch, and he just walks out there stoic as hell and slow, and of course you can argue that stormtroopers suck at aiming, so this is the only way he made it. I like that he's reinstating this idea that the Force is in everyone, that no one necessarily has to be a Skywalker in order to use the Force. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Whenever he goes down, I really felt that pain. And whenever his friend's crawling over, and then he starts saying, like, "I am one with the Force is with me," I'm like, oh God, that solidarity. You felt their friendship. And I wish I would have gotten more moments like that throughout the whole team. Even he has a pretty nice moment with Felicity Jones, and she has one with the robot K2SO. Actually, they fucked him up for a robot. It was like watching Short Circuit 2.
Yeah.
Fucking, when they start shooting him, you see like the singeing bullet holes in him. It's getting fucked.
Especially since earlier in the movie you saw one of the same Imperial droids take one shot to like the right chest area, and he went,
I gotta get this off my chest. So here's one of the big things in this movie. I mentioned Grandmaster Tarkin a lot. Guys, Peter Cushing is dead. In case you didn't know, Peter Cushing, actor extraordinaire, you know.
He died a
Dr. Frankenstein. He played Van Helsing a couple times in the Hammer movies.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Actually, fun fact, he played Dr. Frankenstein, and the Frankenstein's monster was played by David Prowse, and they ended up working together in the first Star Wars because David Prowse was the body double for Darth Vader.
Cool.
But yeah, they CGI'd him in like Tupac.
You don't need a CGI in, man. They paid an actor to play this character just to have dots on his face.
And you can tell. There are some scenes the CGI's not bad.
It's not, but with people, you can tell. With Leia, with Grandmaster Tarkin, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Tarkin's scenes are mostly with Ben Mendelsohn, and you can tell because the texture of the face is too rubbery.
Yeah, it's a little too rubbery.
You can always tell. I think the only time really overlaying someone's face with CG sufficiently worked was in Civil War. Here's the other thing. If the person is still alive, you can bring them on set and the CGI will work better because it's their actual face, like they do
talking about
Carrie Fisher at the end. Although, I mean, you'd probably have to get some, some clips and just pull that skin back.
I could see why.
Otherwise, those dots are going to get really lumpy.
I could see why they did it with without Carrie Fisher.
You know, I really didn't think we needed to actually show Leia.
I thought I thought it was nice.
I'm not a big fan of doing that in movies just because I know that it's not going to be the actual person from the old movie. I would rather they talk about Leia Organa and not have us actually see her. I'm actually starting not to be a fan of like when they show people from behind, because you always know it's not them. If someone's dead, just get another actor. I mean, if your movie's good enough, if your performance is good enough, we will overlook that shit. Because, you know, it's not like you can dig up Peter Cushing's grave. Unless you want to pull some Dracula or some Jason shit. And yeah, you could just electrocute his grave and... If y'all scroll to the time code, welcome back. We've been talking about Rogue One for a little bit. And yeah, Barnyard, your final thoughts and scores.
Final thoughts on this film. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I knew it was in the Star Wars universe. I knew it wasn't an episode, and I wasn't expecting an episodic movie, but it was still very enjoyable for what it was. I don't know if it's just because I've been watching too many movies in the past year. I don't feel like I want to go see this movie again. That's just me personally. I might see it again. I don't know, but as for right now, I'm good. It definitely added weight to the Star Wars Episode 4, The New Hope. So with that, I'll give it a 4.5. Daniel?
I'm not as wild about this movie just because I think the actual story that we're following for most of it isn't as strong as it could be. But whenever you do look at the pieces that are connecting episodes 3 and 4, and you're asking these questions about who created the Death Star, why does it have the flaw, what happened to the Senate after they broke up. When you learn of these answers and you start looking at the other stories like that, I found that it actually makes A New Hope a lot better.
It does.
I thought that it gives the movie a lot more hope. I was satisfied by the answers that I was given to these questions, and so overall I'm gonna go with a solid 4 out of 6.
For the people that aren't with us doing this review, we have Matt that gave it a 5. Aaron that gave it a 3.5, and Sam that gave it a 3.5. What did Liam give it?
He gave it a 5. Half-Cocked verdict is going to be right there. If y'all like this video, click the like button down below. If you want to be the first to find out when new content is coming out, you can click the subscribe button too. We got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram pages, Liam's blog where he has a long, in-depth review of Rogue One is liammgahan.wordpress.com. Our friend Noah's Instagram, The Cinema Geek. I've got a new job at UPS and it's Christmas time, so if I can make the following screenings, I will. Monday, we've got Passengers. Tuesday, we've got Fences.
First time I'm hearing about Passengers.
Yeah, I don't know how many tickets we've got, but if we can get all the tickets we can.
Off Monday.
This weekend, Assassin's Creed comes out. Holy shit.
Next weekend.
Next weekend, yeah. Wow, that movie's kind of like coming and going,
Comes
ain't
out
it?
Wednesday.
Fuck! Christmas is coming around the corner. We're gonna try and catch up on a shit ton of movies. If Liam and I can catch a screening of Jackie, we will. But until then, thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see y'all later. Love ya.
May the Force be with you.